Oh no, I've turned the camera around. Let's turn it back. iPhones. Hey Nath, what's going on?
It's happening, man.
Thanks for joining us for our fourth ever episode of Thursday Night Live at Fat Burners Only, where we're talking to all the interesting people in the supplement industry, and apparently you're one of them.
Okay. News to me. Thanks, man.
News to you.
It's always fun to hang out with you. It's cool to do lives, podcasts, things like that. So
Yeah, and also really good for well, it's not a new brand, but it's not an old brand. It's relatively new to market, Force Element. So for those of you guys who aren't sure who this bearded guy in front of you is, it's Nathan Jacobs. So he is the formulator, the owner, the CEO and creator of the awesome brand Force Element that we stock at Fat Burners Only. And we're going to chat to him tonight about everything SUPs, product. Oh, you've got the fire through right there. Oh, you got fire through, I've got fire support. We're going to talk about the brand. We're going to talk a bit about Nathan. We're going to talk a little bit about the products. So let's just start. We might actually answer some questions from our burners at the end as well. So we'll start with saying, how long have you been in the industry for, Nath?
maybe 5 years. It's sort of
5 years?
it's gone pretty quickly. I mean, Force is my fourth brand. Two of those, the first two were sort of together with Platinum and Outbreak.
Yes. So you were involved with Platinum Labs and Outbreak Labs?
Yeah. So a little bit of backstory on me. My background's road construction, asphalting, project management, that sort of stuff. And I basically decided I didn't want to do it anymore. Great career, good growth path ahead of me. Infrastructure's never going anywhere, but I just got bored with it, basically. Within the space of
what drew you then to supplements?
Well, within the space of about a week, I kind of got bored with what I was doing, wanted out. Became friends with Terry Katz on Facebook, who owns Platinum Labs. He put up a post and just said, look, basically a call out from friends. We need someone, because Terry just moved to the US, and we need someone in Australia to run the brand. Before I put it on Seek, does anyone have any recommendations? And I just kind of messaged him, and at that stage I was using everything Platinum. Like, they had 5 products out, used all of them. And I just messaged him and I'm like, hey man, like I don't know anything about this industry, but like, here's who I am, here's what I've done, and can I have a crack at it, basically? And ended up in supplements, which was, I think, 2 weeks max between starting in the supplement industry. I was running a fairly sizable booth at Arnold's Expo, which was sort of a crash course in everything. And then that grew out into, eventually we did Outbreak. We got Platinum out from 5 products to, I think, 16 or 17, just shy of 100 SKUs. And then brought out Outbreak Nutrition, which is the apocalypse themed thing. And that was just sort of a bit of fun idea Terry came to me with and just said, look, what can we make here? Do you think we can do it? And I was like, I don't know, but like, anyone that spent more than 5 minutes around me and Terry together knows it's just like a bad idea fest. We're like, hey, let's just roll with this and see what happens.
Yeah.
And so I was with those guys for 3 years. And they went through some organizational changes there and just different ways to approach the international market for them, because they ended up in 30 odd countries.
Yeah, I heard at some point Terry was saying he had places in Russia that were buying off him, and through the UAE as well.
We sort of started out with a joke with Outbreak of, just because of the branding, it'd be really cool if we could get this in war zones. And there was at one stage where we had a stockist in Iraq, we had a stockist in Kuwait, we had several in Eastern Europe, like in Crimea, in conflict zones. And it was like, this is getting a bit weird and a bit strange now. But yeah, look, the Outbreak took off. Platinum went with it. They done super well with those brands. And then I spent some time with another brand, which I'm not going to go into in great detail. But that didn't work out sort of the way.
We don't want to talk about what it was called.
No, we don't want to talk about anything.
We won't even mention it.
No. Nah,
Okay.
I'll just leave it. But look, I spent too much time trying to push things uphill with a pointy stick. That just didn't work.
Yep.
Um, and again, it's sort of weird. I come to these, I guess, crisis points in my life where I was ready to go back to construction. I'm just like, look, I'm just going to go back, standard job, work that, live my life. Didn't have any problems doing that. I mean, I had Tate was born, I think, maybe 6 months before that changeover.
Right. And Tate's your son.
Uh,
How old is he now?
so he's 3. He went 3 on the 1st
Right.
of March.
Sure.
He's the size of a 5-year-old, and he's got my attitude, which is,
Well, you're a
yeah.
big unit yourself, aren't you? So what are you weighing at? I think you're 6 foot something and weighing at 100 plus kegs.
Yeah, I'm 6 foot flat now. I'm about 100, 105 to 107 is my sort of
So
sweet spot.
you're a big rooster to begin with. So Tate is always going to be a big lad, eh? He takes
Yeah,
after his dad. Yeah.
and then my dad's side, his brothers are all 6'3" props.
Yeah,
And then
right.
on his mum's side, like his auntie plays for the West Coast Fever over there.
Right. So he
So
might have a bit of sport in his blood as well.
yeah, I think so. He's been testing it out now with the isolation. It's been very, very interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I got to the point where I've got a family to support. I need to make smart adult grown up decisions because I love being in the industry. Get frustrated about some of the things that happen in the industry, some of the personalities, things like that. But I just love being in the supplement industry. It's so much fun for me. I thought, well, I'm gonna have to make a grown up decision here and go back to building roads and things like that. And a good friend of mine, Declan Redmond, rang me out of the blue just to talk about another business that he was looking into. He asked me how everything was going. I said, look, this is just BS. I don't want to be doing this. Like, I don't want to have my name attached to products I'm not happy with. And there's, things I want to change. There's things I don't like doing. And sort of just flat out said, like, why don't you start your own supplement brand? The thought had never occurred to me. And then we had a name inside a week. Actually,
Hey, Stacey.
we had
Sorry,
the
I'm just looking
first.
at some of the comments.
No, that's all right. Man, we had the first name inside 24 hours. I think we've still got the domains for that, and that didn't stick. Then we had 4 Settlement Performance inside a week. We had a
What
company
was the
registered.
first name for you guys?
Zero Alpha Performance.
Zero
So
Ultra Performance.
Zero Alpha. So
Zero Alpha
we,
Performance. Right.
it's a, there's a military tie into it. And then we just sort of looked at that and went, we can do better. So we went with 4 Settlement, registered the company. The formulas I'd sort of had kicking around in my head in like that Night Ops formula was a formula
We're going to talk about night ops, that's for sure.
um that that product was the one that fell out of the sky for me. But I had these formulas bouncing around in my head, so we just sort of pressed forward with it. By the time we got labels, tabs, manufacturing, everything like that sorted, it was maybe 4 months. I sent the first
So
box of stock
just
4th
to
of
give
February.
our viewers an idea of what it sort of takes, you said took 4 months between the idea and then getting stock. If someone's out there and thinking, oh, I can start my own brand, what sort of
Do it.
did you go through on that four months?
Do it.
What
I,
you
I,
reckon? Go for it.
Mate, I strongly encourage anyone to do it.
Sure.
Man, you had Will on from Prime Bollox.
We did last
The
week, yeah.
Yeah, man, I met Will in an internet for bodybuilding forum. My first conversation with him was maybe 4 hours long, and I stepped
You
in
can do
through
that with
because
Will, and you.
yeah, well, I'd seen the growing pains of Platinum going from 5 products and 12 SKUs to 16 or whatever it was, and up to 80 SKUs, and then I'd been through the startup of Outbreak. So it's like I guarantee you, if you've come across something starting up a supplement brand that hurt you in some way, I've felt it, I've seen it, I've dealt with it. And Will was a perfect example of why I say do it. Like I sat down and I said, these are all the things that are going to frustrate you. Just be aware they're coming, have some sort of plan for them, be prepared for anything else that comes, and just go. But yeah, I keep getting the ads now that I can start up a supplement brand for $59 or something like that.
I have not seen that ad yet.
It's like drop shipping supplements. So
Right.
same way you get I'm trying to think of the right term for it, but you know how you can get on Vistaprint and print out t-shirts.
Yeah.
That was supplements. For $59, you too can start a brand.
Wow. Okay, that seems kind of cheap. Did it cost you more than 59 bucks?
Little bit, yeah.
A little bit more.
Little bit.
And so
But
in that, sorry, in that 4 months between starting and getting a product, sort of what did you experience? What was the first thing that you had to do?
first thing we had to do was product names, which sounds
So you
really
come up with the
basic.
product names, yep. And then what do you
Um,
do after that?
well, we kind of built it backwards. I mean, if someone was to come to me and say, here's a big pile of money, go and start a supplement brand, the first thing I have to do is formulations. Like I need to work out what this brand is and what it means, why it matters. And I already had the formulations and the sort of the concept behind that, and to give a little bit of background with Declan, my business partner, he spent near on a decade in Second Commando, which is one of Australia's special forces capabilities.
Yep.
And there's no bullshit sort of outlook to it there. It's like if something works, you do it. If it doesn't work, you don't. You don't cut corners. You don't, there's no bullshit involved. So we had these products that were bulletproof, and this was probably the biggest concern we had going to the industry. And I think I said this to you last time I was over there. I can walk into nearly every supplement store in the country and say that my products probably cost more to make than anything else in their category. I do it proudly. But when you're going to take that sort of a swing and you're talking about cost of goods that are maybe, I don't know, 10 to 15% above what the competitors are selling for the same retail, that 4 months until we got those products the first time, that was the biggest stress. Because it's like this idea is either going to work and people are going to get it and they're going to look at the products and they're going to go, wow, okay, I see why I'm paying the premium price for that. Or they're not. And if
But
they
like you
don't,
said, it's not a premium price. It's a premium product for the same price as everything else in the category.
yeah, look, we still sit higher. Like our pre-workouts are 74.95, so they're on the higher end of that
Sure.
pre-workout thing. But look, if I took the approach a lot of others, particularly US brands, took to how they price things, I'd be trying to sell those for 99.95, just in terms of price. But we sort of bankrolled on we want to make supplements that we take, and we're happy, for people to take. We have complete confidence in them, and that's what we ended up with. But man, that's still something that stresses me out because I look at products coming out that are subpar, and it makes the marketplace very, very cluttered, I guess, with things that just don't make a lot of sense. Which, I mean, talking about Will, and I know you've had a few of the Australian brands on there. Like when I was with Platinum, if you're an Australian brand, you were seen as being a bit dodgy for the most part because
That's not
there'd
the
been
case anymore.
no. Well, you've got guys like Will and Nick over at Primabolics. You've got guys like Jared, Reese, Ryan at Red Dragon. You've got Greg and his guys at Switch. Like the Australian supplement industry from where it was, 3-4 years ago, has just come forth in leaps and bounds. So
You've
that was the
just
other.
mentioned the three guests that we've had before you on the Thursday Night Lives all in a
Oh,
row.
like
That
yeah,
was, what a
perfect.
coincidence.
Yeah, but well, I got dragged into this conversation the other day where we had some things critically said about one of our products, and the Australian supplement industry is so very good. The small guys just stick together, and some of the brands that we've got in Australia now, like we are so very lucky where we're not getting people trying to push out, make your own brand for $59. It's just not a thing. You go to the US and every man and his dog's got a supplement company. or a pre-workout or a fat burner, or they've got something like that. And like that was the roll of the dice for us, and I know it's been for the same for some other brands as well. Is, you know, to use the ingredients we use costs more money. To get them manufactured in Australia costs more money. To label print here, more money. To buy tubs here costs more money because they have to get shipped from China. Whereas if you're in the US, most of those companies you buy your tubs from have got holding facilities there, so it's not an issue.
So Australian
And
brands, they're more expensive to make typically.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
There's and that's before you get into shipping out of Australia. If you're trying to do international as well, that just adds a whole nother level to it.
And are you doing international shipping?
Um, we did have some guys in the UK we were working with, and that just didn't really align with sort of what we were trying to do. It was pretty humbling. We had in the first maybe 3 months in market, we had two UK distributors and a US distributor contact us directly, and they saw what we done. They just looked at the products, looked at the branding, looked at everything around and went, yep, cool, we want in on this. But logistically, it just we had to crawl before we could walk, and that's why the focus for us has been on Australia, and still is, and especially with what's happened with coronavirus, I think will be for the foreseeable future, because
Right.
Australia is our base, and it makes sense for us to establish ourselves here. Similar to Platinum, like I said, I'm very fortunate. Like I got to learn a lot about building a supplement brand with someone else footing the bill for it. I love Terry, but
He's helped you out in that regard, yeah.
he has, and look, we're still great mates. We're playing Call of Duty the other night, talking about the industry, and I think we're probably each other's biggest fans when it comes to our brands. But I got to step through and learn those lessons basically with someone else there going, okay, we've got a business that can sustain you making mistakes. Whereas Force, I want to do things right, and I just want to do them once. So if we were to push hard into the UK, push hard into the US, or even Southeast Asia, where we've had some opportunities pop up as well, and take our eye off Australia, it puts us in a position where we don't want to be. We're an Australian brand. We're really proud of that. It's on the labels. It's on the website. It's absolutely everywhere you'll see it. Because we are an Australian brand, because that's something that still bugs me. When I had Australian retailers with Platinum that would not stock the product because it was an Australian brand, and it was seen as down here because it was an Australian brand. So that little chip on the shoulder is serving me very well.
Well,
And
like we said, it's not the case anymore. People look at Australian brands and they want to support them now, and they realise that they're likely, possibly better quality than the other brands out there.
easily, they haven't sat in a shipping container for 3 months. They haven't had all these other sorts of things happening. I mean, our manufacturing facilities are on par with the best in the US. There's no real fly-by-night type guys, like where you'll see products tainted in the US. I mean, we've been looking at doing informed sport and ADF safe and things like that, and the process involved in that's very convoluted, and very time consuming, and quite an expensive process for what it is. But our manufacturing facility, and I know a couple other guys that use the same guys that we do, and it's faultless. We obviously pay a premium in Australia just because everything's dearer here to do, but man, it's well worth it, because I know that I've seen brands before where guys will make up their own batches in their manufacturing facility. I can just go pick up a retail tub and take it, use it, because I know whatever's in this one is the same as in the last one. It's the same as in the one sitting on your shelves.
So it's a good manufacturing process. Now, we had a few questions from Dan before. Are you watching Tiger King at the moment?
No.
You're not watching
I'm not.
Tiger King?
No.
Do you think Carol Baskin killed her husband? You wouldn't know because you're not watching it.
Yes. No, I do. Completely. I've seen the memes. I do.
Okay. The memes, yeah, it has to be real, right?
Yeah. It's at that point where I'm just overwhelmed with information that she definitely killed him.
She did, and you haven't even watched it. There you go. So now we've just sort of touched on the fact now, for those that have just joined, we're talking to Nathan from Force Element right here, that the brand is largely aligned to special forces, army, etc. Why the alignment with the Defence Force?
Um,
Or how?
so
How did it come apart?
so there's a couple of things that played into it. I mean, obviously Declan's background's one.
So Declan is your business partner.
Yeah. So we're 50-50 owners in Force Element. Completely equal. He leaves me alone to formulate. But apart from that, like we're on the phone for an hour before, which was very, mostly not even business sort of stuff. So we're good mates. We have been for years. And I mean, his background played into it. There's a couple of military brands out there that have just done a pretty shit job, to be honest. And anyone that's spent any time around special operations guys, or read the books, listened to the podcasts, like I said before, there's no bullshit. It is what it is. They do what they say they're doing, and it just works. There might be a little bit more background prep into what they do, but consistently across everything they do is just excellence.
And Force Element, what does it mean as far as Defence Force goes? What does the name actually mean by definition?
So, excuse me. So a force element is a group that will, I'm going to butcher this. I'm 100% going to butcher this.
Hey, close enough is good enough, because no one knows. So
a force element is a group or an element that will go and attack a position.
Right. Okay. So it's a group of.
It's a variable name depending on size. Yeah, it could be a platoon, company, battalion, whatever.
Right. Okay. Now you've got 5 products in the range. I've actually bought a bag here from Aldi, just the bag, not the products. You don't currently stock Aldi at the moment.
Sponsored by Aldi. No.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, our big sponsors are Aldi. We have the pre-workout warning order. We have night ops, which are your black tubs there. Why black and white?
Okay, so do you want me to run you through some little label Easter eggs?
Let's do it.
Okay, so warning order, black pre-workout. The gold on there is the same as the 2 Commando gold. So this gold on here.
Yeah.
The white cleared hot tub is just basically a softer, more feminine look, to be perfectly honest with it. We have night ops, black
night
for
ops.
nighttime. The green is actually a pull of a night vision green.
Oh yeah, so you see it in all the movies. Yeah, brilliant.
Fight through is non-stim, white tub, so it's a little bit softer than the warning order.
That's the pump order. The pump product.
That's the pump and gaming product. So it's got new level in it, which is nitrogen with extra inositol. So I've been giving this a fair go with Call of Duty lately. Really good focus product.
Have you seen your numbers improve?
Yeah, definitely.
What, when you're on this and not on this, your numbers, your reaction time, your kill ratios, that all improves?
Yep.
Yeah. Very cool.
When I looked at it, when I sort of decided to put it in the product, I hadn't used it. I'd read it. I understood the science and the theory behind it. And like I said, it's nitrogen. So worst case scenario, we're going to have nitrogen and a little bit more inositol in there, which can't be a bad thing. And then I got some samples of it and tried it. And I was like, oh, okay, this works. This actually works as an ingredient. The best thing about it, obviously, being a non-stim, it's, it doesn't keep you up late at night. I find I use that more than anything because I'm getting old. I have a child. I need better sleep. Easter egg for that tub, the purple there is the purple heart purple.
Beautiful. Yep, and I can see that clear in the flesh. I don't know if our burners can see that. Yeah, you can see the purple on that. And then the last one, we haven't talked about fire support. What's the Easter eggs on this one?
No Easter eggs.
No Easter eggs.
that product's a pure love product that's a love project. Just in
Will it?
terms of what goes into the product, it's just a pure love product. There's not a lot of, or there wasn't when we went through a lot of good EAA products. There wasn't any that we really using tart cherry as a complete, all round recovery product. It's easy to put 5 grams of BCAAs and a gram of EAAs and say, oh, we've got the full spectrum EAA product, but it doesn't do anything.
This one, you've got that and the tart cherry. Will it help me get through a dinner with the in-laws? I think Mr. Abbas is talking about fight through. Hey, we don't know about that.
Just give him that.
Give it a shot.
Just give him this. 2 of those.
Who? To the in-laws or for him?
Yeah, before dinner. Just put them down.
They'll fall asleep.
It's much easier.
All right, so we've talked about the labeling behind the products. Now, let's talk about the products. We have 5 of them. So let's have a look if I can move my camera. We have Night Ops. Oh, geez, I can't get the angles right. Night Ops, Cleared Hot, Warning Order, and we have Fire Support as well. So what's your favourite product in the range? Tough, I know, they're all your babies, but what would you say?
Night Ops.
Night Ops? That's
Night
kind of
Ops.
funny because it's also the best-selling four-element product on our website. Is it the best-selling in general?
Yep.
Okay, so with a lack of good night formulas out there, I can attest to this. I took this and I got to sleep, I stayed asleep, and I didn't wake up feeling tired or struggling to get out of that deep sleep. I felt relatively refreshed.
Shout out to
Trinity, Paul, can I have a shout out? Hey, Trinity Holt, how you going? Trinity's a legend that used to shop with me for years. He's just gone over east. I miss him terribly. Come back, Trinity, come back. We still talk all the time. So what sets this apart from other night formulas?
It wasn't underdosed.
It wasn't underdosed.
So a little bit of a background around sleep formulas. So previously used to be able to use things like GABA, melatonin, Phenabat, which are not able to be used in products. Now, if you want to put someone...
Let's talk about Phenabat for a second, but first I need to say, M. Abbas, that beard looks fire. Thanks, man, appreciate it. I've been working on it. You haven't commented on Nathan's beard, but I'll take that.
Terrible.
So Phenabat was an amazing ingredient, wasn't it? That was in all the smart... You didn't like it. Tell us about it.
Okay, so if anyone wants to go onto Reddit a little bit later and look up a subreddit called Quitting Phenabat.
It's too addictive. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Some of the story, I'm going to be honest, I'm glad it was banned. I feel a little bit ashamed that I even recommended it for people, had it in products, was associated anywhere near it. It's a pretty serious thing. But given what was known at the time about it when it was in the industry, you could come up with a concoction of 1 gram, 2 grams of that, 5 milligrams of melatonin, and anywhere from 1 to 4 grams of GABA. Put that in a product, flavor it. It's relatively cheap. It's going to knock someone. Yeah, it's going to knock someone out. They're probably going to have pretty bad dreams. They're probably going to wake up in the morning feeling like they were hit with a sledgehammer. Now, what that did for that category was build complacency in it, because hey, it's a sleep product. I know I can put you to sleep. I don't have to think, because I can just use 1, 2, or 3 of those ingredients at whatever dose, and I know you're going to sleep.
So you're saying this is a thinking man's sleep formula?
Yes.
You put some thought behind this.
Yeah, it was. Look, it was bred out of, and that's why I said this one sort of fell from the sky. This was the majority of this. This is, I would describe it as a ZMA on steroids.
Right. Okay. Yep.
The product came from things I was doing and dosing myself after Tate was born. I wasn't sleeping. I was working. I was changing jobs. I was starting up a business. And
Murph needs this too, just by the way.
Murph
Murph needs it. He does need it.
Yeah.
I can attest to that. This will work.
Murph's a guy I used to train with when I first met Declan, actually. We all used to
Oh,
train
so
in it
you know
ourselves.
Murph?
Yes, I do.
Oh, thanks for tuning in, Murph.
Um, Look, it's a basic product. It's been described as a naturopath product in terms
Right.
of
Okay.
people that like it and people that find value in it, because it's not, there's nothing nefarious in there. There's nothing that's too overwhelming. There's nothing that you can't scale to suit your usage. We have probably the coolest thing about it, and this is, if you want to sort of get a look at how we view this as a money making exercise. Obviously, it's a business. We're in it to make money. $74.95 for a 40 serve tub.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I initially made it because I sleep terribly. So I initially made it as a 20/40, in that most people probably need to 2 scoop it or 1.5 scoop it. Turns out, not only do most people only need 1 scoop, we've had 2 people message us now that 1 scoop was too much. They've had to go back to half a scoop and they get a good night's sleep.
So that's an 80 server for them.
Yep.
That's
So
that's an
yeah,
amazing product. People don't make 80 serves because once you buy it, they don't come back for another 90 days. But hey, there you go. You've made a real product that people they get a lot of value out of it.
well, the beauty of it, I mean, the basis of it being the magnesium is the big variable that's going to change with people, and any most people are magnesium deficient. It's just the way the world spins now. There's the number that gets thrown around is over 300 processes in the body that require magnesium. So we just went and got the most bioavailable version of it. Very
Which is
open.
the citrate. Perfect. Yep.
Yep. This is what we're going to put on the label. Use that as your guidepost, and tune up or down from there. So
Now, oh, you go. Keep going.
we've got people that will use it as a recovery aid. So in line with training late, they'll basically use it as their post workout recovery. Effectively, and we'll go up to 3 scoops of it. Probably don't recommend it. Anyone that's had too much magnesium will know why.
Might go to the toilet. We'll just won't
Yeah.
get into any more detail than that.
Yeah, hopefully you're not asleep when that happens. Um, but it is. Look, it's realistically, it's a sort of an old school recovery product in that it's not a carb. It's got recovery ingredients in there. It's got the Pico 2. It's got the hops in there as well, which helps with sleep. But it's basically most of the things you get recommended by a naturopath to help you sleep at night. If you went to one said it can't sleep, it's trash, the first thing is going to look at things like zinc, magnesium. They're going to recommend ashwagandha to you. They're probably going to look at
And that's
mushroom
in
blends
here?
like with the Pico 2. Yep, all in there.
Yep. So let's go through it. We've got the Pico 2. We have ashwagandha, magnesium citrate. We've got theanine in there as well. Hops, Nordic cherry, and the zinc with a bit of tryptophan. Now, let's talk about the Nordic cherry. That's one of my favorite ingredients in here. What's that doing in there?
So it is promoted. I have to be careful with what I say about trademarked ingredients.
Sure.
Just to dive into that a little bit, a trademark for an ingredient is, for anyone listening who's like, why does that make a difference? It's basically a brand has gone out and got an ingredient at a certain extraction. They've studied it and they've said, this is the claims that we can make. We pay them a premium on top of what we would for the ingredient to be able to say, yep, we can make these claims. Or not necessarily claims, but this is what it does. This is how we can position it. The big thing for that's an antioxidant as part of the sleep formula. So it's good for reducing DOMS. It's good for reducing muscle fatigue, getting into inflammation, things like that. Some people have used it and said don't really see much from it. I think it's amazing. That's why it's in night ops and fire support. I put it in there because I generally tend to stick on the higher dosages of it.
Well, very smart ingredient. Like we can't talk too much about it, but let's just say that I sometimes drink just tart cherry before bed because it does have ingredients that help you sleep. Okay, So that's your
Yep.
fire support. Our
We'll go
best
with that.
selling, we'll go with that. It's the best selling sleep formula we have. It's your best selling product.
Yep.
Really smart. It's almost like a naturopath put it together. That's that product there. Now, what else do we want to talk about? The other black label, you said that is probably the most expensive pre-workout on the market to create. One of them in Australia.
Yeah, in Australia it would be for sure.
Now, we can go a bit clinical because our burners, they are quite smart with their ingredients. If they listen to any of our videos, we harp on about them all the time. We've got 6 grams of citrulline malate for pump.
Yep.
There's 2.5 betaine in here. Why is there 2.5 grams of betaine? It's not beta-alanine, betaine.
So beta-alanine, just to go into that, beta-alanine as a base, people will tell you there's a 3.2 gram clinical dosage, which isn't exactly accurate. You need to have 128 grams of it loaded. That should be in 3.2 grams dosages 4 times a day as a loading phase every day, for it to basically help you recover better, aside from giving the tingles. Now, Pico 2 that we've gone into with that is a mushroom blend. Big fan of mushroom blends. Anyone that takes cordyceps, anyone that takes lion's mane, would be familiar with that. That hits its loading point at 56 grams. Depending on dosage with warning order, depending on dosage with night ops, which also has it in there, or fight through. If you prefer non-stim, you can basically build that however you want to get the benefits of it.
Right, so we're talking about Pico 2. You've actually put it in 3 of your 5 products.
Yeah, because it is something that if you were to go out and take 4 grams of it, 5, 6 grams of it, you'd probably have a bit of stomach upset. Beyond that, you can't really overdose on it. And it's the same as beta-alanine. I mean, if I was to go out and put the equivalent dosage of beta-alanine, which would be 12 grams a day, so I put 6.4 grams in morning order, I put 6.4 grams in night ops. People aren't going to really enjoy those products. They're not going to like them. So for me to create a product and create a system of products that gets people the benefits faster and where they're noticeable, if you go and buy a warning order and a night ops together and you're taking 2 scoops of those, or 2 scoops of the warning, however many scoops you're taking, you're going to see that benefit anywhere between 7 and 21 days. So you're going to see those actual benefits faster, as opposed to beta-alanine, where you may talk yourself into it, but you're actually, the chances of that are very slim. It also allows for a loading product when stacked with this, because what happens to beta-alanine if I take a week off training, or I don't take my pre-workout for a week, or I only train legs on every second Tuesday, and that's the only time I use my high stim pre-workout? How do I load on that?
So you're saying that it's not going to work unless you're taking it, but you've got these guys with a Pico 2, you're having them every day, you're keeping it loaded.
Yeah. So
excellent.
We sort of built that, built the products around that methodology of, you can sit there and look through it and tailor the ingredients that you're after. Whatever you're wanting to get out of it, you can tailor those ingredients how you need them.
Well, I like the thinking because, most people, they'll look at the name of the product and the design and the flavor, how it makes you feel, but they won't go to those deeper levels of science and loading and what if we have this ingredient that needs it to be hit 3 times a day. You've thought very deep about the range.
So the initial genesis for Force Element and warning order in particular was actually came out of the conversations we had around outbreak nutrition. So that's how long this has all been spinning around up here.
Around the brain, yeah, right.
It was just, it didn't have any of this packaging, it didn't have a name, but what the products were, and even betaine. Betaine's a great ingredient. It's very easy to get good pump ingredient. I just like betaine. I get a better experience off it. It's the same.
So what happens to you with betaine? Say we took the betaine out of here, what are you going to lose?
Lose pump.
Pump, okay.
And some of the research around Vaso 6 as well, which is a form of green tea,
which is in here.
Yep. So that's at 300 grams in there, which is the clinical dose. That one's currently being studied as a 600 grammer, which you'll get out of 2 scoops of that. It's also being used up to 1.2 grams for heart health.
Right. Okay. Excellent.
Which
And
is,
so then, yeah, I know you go.
so Fight Through, sort of jump between products. That as a pump focus product is also great if you want to sit in front of a computer screen like I do for 8 hours a day, because you don't get the headaches, because your blood flow is improved.
Okay. Instantly, I can see Fiona going, I
Hypothetically, for our
need this
friends at
product.
TGA.
Right. Okay. We might not be able to make the that claim, but I know that Fiona, because she's been working on the computer for 10 hours today, she'll have heard that and gone, wait a second, I'm going to try Fight Through for sure. Now,
Go
looking
to
at
bubblegum.
the bubble gum, what do we have here? Fight Through, the bubble gum. There you go. What a cool flavor. Can't really see it, it's too reflective. Now, warning order, we're almost finished with this guy here. Looking at 250 milligrams of caffeine. You've also got teacrine and hyperzyme as well. So you've got some, and dynamine, so you treat your teeth. So this is going to pack a punch. You're going to feel it.
It's a strong stimulant product that doesn't make you feel like you've been out partying. It's probably the best way I can phrase that. I'm the type of person where I don't react too well to DMHA. I never have. But also if I'm going into a gym, especially, owning a business, having family, having a toddler, like having all these other responsibilities, like that hour I get in the gym needs to matter. I don't need to be standing there looking in the mirror like, oh, I'm way too fired up for this, or I can't focus, or I'm nervous, or anything like that. I'd much rather a product where the mood's better, the feeling's better, it doesn't punch you in the face, but you can do whatever you want to do on it. You can go in and smash out leg sessions, you can go in and smash out. I mean, I've been getting into, or was before the gym shut, I was getting into a lot more of a metabolic conditioning style workout. I can just push, which I assure you, if I had a long driveway, I would drive to the end of the driveway to check the mail. Like, I don't do cardio, I don't like cardio, not a big fan of it. But
and this turns it on.
Yeah. That in terms of my recovery and my aerobic ability has improved.
Excellent.
Me personally, it's an N1 study.
Right, okay. One person, not double blind, but hey, it still counts. So, you see a lot of pre-workouts with 350, 400, 250, sweet spot.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I think, and I've said this publicly enough where I can say it, if you have to put over 300 milligrams of caffeine anhydrous in a product, you're a lazy formulator and you shouldn't be in the industry.
Right, okay. There you go. Big calls from Big NJ. All right, now we've got the 3 white ones here. We've got Fire Support, Fight Through, and Cleared Hot. And this one actually should take specific note for our burners, because this is your fat burner, Cleared Hot.
Yes.
Now, it's a 40 server, 30 server?
30 serve.
Excellent. And sorry, it comes in what, sorry?
Bubblegum.
Bubblegum. So you got the bubblegum flavour. We've got Tropical Crush here.
Also good. So Tropical Crush will maybe taste like a golden circle juice, like you used to have at Christmas.
Yes.
Green apple will taste like a Granny Smith apple. Strawberry coconut, and then bubblegum will potentially taste like a grape Hubba Bubba.
So what is the best flavour? Fiona asks.
Depends what you want. I'm a big fan of doing flavours for feelings. When you taste something, it brings back a memory.
Okay, yeah.
Grape Hubba Bubba. No one has a bad time eating bubblegum.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
And then
brings me back to the Royal Show.
Yeah, the tropical is just a nice, refreshing citrus. Apple's the same. I'm just a big apple juice guy, so I love that. And then the strawberry colada was just a flavour I'd always enjoyed. I could always sip on, and so there's no bad flavours in it. It just comes down to personal preference. We've had,
so they're all good.
Yeah, it's the same with Warning Order. I mean, we've had pretty even feedback across the board of I love this flavour. For other
like to the point now where I don't really put too much stock in it, because we've had people come and tell us that, sour gummy. I hate sour gummy products. I love our sour gummy. I've had
Yeah,
people
right.
say the same, and then I've had others turn around and they go, "Oh, no, your sour gummy's terrible." So, okay, cool. Like, sorry you've had that experience. Maybe try the blue raspberry, or maybe try the apple. Like,
Everyone's got different flavors. D. Omari, I think his name is David, has just said, out of all the products, what's the best before a pump workout and why? Be fight through, wouldn't it?
fight through for sure.
Excellent.
With the glycerol, with the Vaso 6 dosages in there, definitely. And
Yeah,
I'm assuming if it's a pump workout, you're probably trying to get it done pretty quickly, which means you probably have somewhere else to be, and you don't want to be stimmed off your face there. I'll go with that
good point.
assumption.
See, this is where Nathan just keeps going deeper deeper with his formulations, deeper with getting Pico 2 in all his formulas. Now, this guy here, the Cleared Hot, tell us quick sort of rundown, because we're running out of time here.
No, it's
What's
okay.
this going to do for you?
Look, it's a really basic. It is a fat burner in the loosest sense. I've not gone down the diuretic path in terms of getting a little bit high speed with what happens in the formula, if that makes sense. It's very basic: 2 grams of carnitine, good stim, green tea extracts. It's very, very basic in terms of assisting fat loss. It's not going to be an easy solution. It's not going to be an easy answer, but if you're eating in a deficit, this is definitely going to help you mobilize fat. It's also going to
Yes,
give you a
and
nice, good
create a
stim
bigger
kick.
deficit.
Yeah, create a bigger deficit. The other thing with, and this is where I kind of get myself into trouble with personal preference. I hate real sweaty fat burners. So your lean GBBs and things like that. Some people like them. I don't. I can't stand them. I don't want to try and dehydrate people. Generally, people that are taking fat burners, they've got a lot going on in their life. They're flat out as it is. The last thing you want to be doing is taxing your body that way, when the benefits for it maybe aren't so great.
So then you've put no thermogenics in here.
Don't want to cook anyone. So
they're not sweating. So
that's why it's more of an energy management. That's what we sort of termed it. We're limited with what we can call products, just with the regulations we fall under, but that's effectively what it is. We've put things in there to give you good focus, good energy, some that do assist with fat mobilization. So we're looking at acetyl-L-carnitines. We're looking at some mild diuretic factors with the green tea, but nothing that's going to leave you covered in a pile of sweat 5 minutes into taking it, because it's just not the product I like to make.
And some coleus to work on thyroid. Smart.
Man, and I've seen you talk about this, like someone losing fat isn't just if I was to come in and say, I can make one product and it's going to make you skinny, it's going to make you lose all the weight you want to make, I'm a liar, it's disingenuous, it probably isn't actually the best thing for you.
Hey, Mish.
So
she's saying hi.
So we made it. We dialed it back a bit in terms of where we could have went with some of the more popular and more hot topic sort of ingredients that are being used at the moment. Just purely for personal preference. There's not, I've used some of those products with the lean GBB in there, and you start getting into things like kelp and a whole heap of different cofactors when it comes to fat oxidation. Okay, cool. I like that product. Like, I get what it's doing, but it's not the product we are.
Yeah,
it's not the brand that we are, if that makes sense.
And let's talk about quickly fight through. We just mentioned to Dave before that this would be perfect for just a pump workout. And if you had somewhere to be after the gym, you didn't want to be stimmed out, this would be perfect. Give us a bit of lowdown behind this bad boy.
So it was basically formulated so it could be stacked with warning water without crossover. So How I'll use those two products, because obviously I know the guy that owns the place. I have access to both of them as much as I want, depending on whether I'm doing a metabolic conditioning workout, depending on whether I'm training at 4 a.m. or whether I'm training at 11:30 at night or 1 in the morning, which I've done before. I can alter my dosing between those two products to basically tailor my own pre-workout. Why we didn't go down the route of just putting all those into warning order, one's cost, to be frank, and two is because I think the non-stim pre-workout, especially now with people doing a lot more home workouts and the legislation changes forcing people to back off stimulants a little bit, I think that's a category where it was being pretty underserved and it was just being relegated to, oh, that just gives you a pump. I'm sure you can think of a few products like that where, they'll give you good blood flow for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then it's all over. So we wanted to make something there where, it will give you that good clarity, which is why we went with the new level, but it's going to give you a good pump. It's still going to help with everything else you need. So it's a complete non-stimulant pre-workout, not just a pump product.
Perfect. Excellent. So that's quite unique in the market. And then finally, we have the Fire Support here, which is just your intra and post-workout formula, would you say?
Yeah. I use that as post. So I've got, without going into great depth about it, I've got a bowel disease, I've got Crohn's disease. So proteins don't sit well with me at all. They're not something that I can take. I'm like everyone else. I have a less than perfect diet. So for me to be able to recover properly, I'm a massive amino fan. We went with the amino 9 in that, which is from Compound Solutions. The researchers behind the ratios that they've used in there. The one thing that people will say on that is, amino 9's a prop blend. Well, yeah, it is. If you really want the figures, I can get them to you. You probably need to sign an NDA for it.
But it's what you want. You want the amino 9. They've ratioed it perfectly.
Yeah. Look, it's one of the, I was a BCAA user for the longest time who didn't really see the advantage of it except drinking lolly water during my workouts. Fire supporting in collaboration with Night Ops. Look, I had pretty much 18 months off the gym and just got back into it sort of the last 6 months before the shutdown, and I recovered like I'd never recovered before. So I like it. Like I said, it's we built the brand, and as much as this sounds like a sales pitch, very similar to the approach what Greg took with Switch. We
built him for himself.
We build a product family. Like, this is who we are. This is what we want out of supplements. Take all of them.
Sure. Yeah, and you can. They are designed to take all of them.
Yeah. Which, again, if we're the brand we say we are, they have to work together. They have to be. If you can have in our household, you've got someone like me who's a big stim user, who's on a computer constantly, who games, who lifts weights heaps. Ebony doesn't really use stims that much. She doesn't really use supplements, not a big gym goer, things like that. Man, our supplement cover gets absolutely smashed. She'll have Fire Support. She'll have Cleared Hot when she feels like she uses Night Ops every night. So we've built a product family that can pretty much whatever you want to do, whatever your aim is, you can achieve that. If anyone has any questions about how things will work together or what recommendations are for things, feel free to get in contact with me.
Yeah, or us, we can point them towards Nathan, or we can try and help as well. So let's just play the game, Nathan.
I think you've copped enough. I think you've copped enough supplement rants about me to probably understand the range as well as I do anyway.
Oh, I do like the range and I do understand it, but I want to play the game. I know that you can use all of these. So let's just say we're waking up in the morning, we want to burn some fat, we take Cleared Hot straight away. We've got energy, our thyroid's pumping, and we're burning calories, increasing the deficit. Then we we hang out, and then around lunchtime, because it's the weekend, we want a big workout. We do the warning order.
Do you want me to run you through my standard Monday to Friday?
We can do. And I would also take it with the fight through, because you can stack these, hey?
6:30.
in the morning, 6:30, 7
Cleared hot.
o'clock, cleared hot.
Yep.
One of those.
Yep.
I will have around 10 o'clock. I'll have a fire support, just for something to drink during the day.
Sure.
Bingo.
This one, then this one.
Yeah. Getting to lunchtime, this is variable depending on I'm training. If I want an extra caffeine kick, I will have. Sorry, I'm just going to answer this. What if the morning is the only time for you to do a heavy weight session? Just go warning order. It's fine. It's not an issue. And then if you're not looking to burn fat, just go with warning order in the morning.
Probably go start with 1 scoop, 1.5 scoops, just to see how you go with it.
So cleared hot, fire support. Depending on when I train, sometime after lunch, I'll have 1 or 2 serves of warning order, and then depending on
2 serves.
So if I'm going to train, I'll have 2 serves of that. So if I have lunch, I'll have 2 serves of that at 1 o'clock. I might go train at 3, so I'll have 2 serves of fight through on the way to the gym. Bingo. I will have
Then
fire support, intra and post.
bring that back. Yep.
I will have a single serve of night ops with dinner. I will have another serve of night ops before bed. If I'm going to sit up and play Call of Duty, do gaming, do anything late night where I need focus, bingo.
Fight through.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's how Nathan will use all 5 products in one day.
Yes.
I kind of like the idea as well that you have options. So say they're not as diehard as you, but they want all 5. I think you definitely start your day with the cleared hot. Yep. Then your workout, you'd have a serve of warning order, and then you'd have your fight through either during or afterwards, and then you'd have your night ops. So that's your 4 products for the day that to put you to sleep. And then let's say you can't get to the gym in the middle of the day, nighttime, you do your fight through instead of the warning order, and there's your 5 products. You can mix and match that way as well.
Even the fight through, I hadn't been using. Basically, I have everything multiple times. Yeah, pretty much, man.
Well, the owner does. You might as well.
I've got a 3-year-old and running my own business. Trust me,
I need all the caffeine.
And you are busy, but everyone's busy these days. So I think everyone can benefit from the right supplements.
Well, that's the big sort of pushback from people is, you don't need to take this. You can get all this out of food, and it's like, well, theoretically you can, but it's like magnesium. Theoretically, you can get all your magnesium out of food.
But we don't. We don't. Everyone's magnesium deficient.
It would probably be years since I've even seen someone in the street who had adequate magnesium, and it's not a problem that's getting better. It's a problem that's getting worse with things that are happening in our food industry and our on the production side. It's.
I've just got to stop you there, Nate. I think we have about 1 minute. So when we cut out, because when we hit an hour, it cuts out. And this is the problem that you get when you speak to Nathan. You can literally talk to him for 4 hours. Time flies, and you don't even realize what's going on. But just to wrap it up, Nathan is, like I said, probably 2 or 3 times so far, the genius, the formulator, the CEO, the owner of Force Element. Awesome products. He's thought so deeply about these, not just flavor, names, colors of the tubs. He's also thought about making sure that you get clinical Great job. Like I said, is there anything you quickly want to say?
Man, thanks
before we cut
out. Thanks for the questions, burners. If you need anything else, get in touch with Paulie. Paulie can call me anytime, day or night, to answer your questions. Look, thanks for having me on and letting me talk supplements.
It's been a pleasure. The whole Force Element range available at Fat Burners Only Now, burners. Thanks, Ruth. We loved chatting to you too. We'll catch you later. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching, and cheers, Nathan. Really appreciate it.